What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Wednesday night live stream. Hopefully everyone is having a fabulous day. Aaron, Island Reefer, Brent Johnson, Spencer, W. Mars. What is going on, guys? Will, Andy, welcome to the stream. So today I figured a fun topic would be talking about reefing with kids, children. You got a newborn. I did briefly talk about this with Mark a few weeks ago on his stream. But I saw a post earlier about someone talk about shutting down their tank because they're having a baby. And to me, that seems crazy. Now, obviously, I'm 5.5 months into a baby. And, managing 2 tanks, obviously, they get a lot less love now than they did before, but I had a lot more free time. So it definitely can be a little bit harder. Now, there is lots of little considerations now that you got to kind of take into it with the tank, for instance. I was laughing one of the comments earlier, Jolie Mask Design at Will. My son was 2. He fed my tank a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because the fish look hungry. Crashes tank. That sucks. I'm sorry to hear that one. Fast forward today, son's now 20, finally got him back in the hobby with a new tank. So it's pretty awesome that you actually got him back into it. Now, the little guy's heart was in the right place trying to feed the fish. But again, peanut butter and jelly is probably not the best thing to throw into your fish tank. Now, I've also heard about kids throwing pennies into tanks, throwing into the wishing well, making wishes, and all that jazz. And this is something that you need to consider. If, for instance, like on your tank, make sure your sump is locked, make sure it's not open. 1, because you don't want your kid climbing into there. And 2, it stops them throwing toys and pennies and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches into your tank. Now, the same goes for a top. I mean, it's a little harder for a kid to lob something up, but eventually that could happen. So, having a top on your tank, that's another big consideration, right? That's going to keep stuff from bouncing over the top rather than going into your tank. Now, I haven't done this yet, but I've been researching those cabinet locks, like the secret hidden ones you can get. You mount on the inside and use a magnet to unlock it. And I think that's what I'm going to do in my water box. So I got to figure out how I'm going to mount on the peninsula. I might have to do a little block of wood or something on the top. But those little hidden ones, I think, are like the perfect way to go because they're stealthy. You can see it. You can use your magnet cleaner, or use any magnet to kind of unlock the doors. So that's definitely something that I'm going to add to my list in the near future. Tracy, sick with the sniffles. That's no fun. Hopefully reef tanks make it better. Aussie man, my daughter's around 2 and is starting to get a little more creative interacting with the tank. I have better security on it now than in my house. Exactly, right? You need to keep your tank safe from the kids. Now, one thing that always seems like amazing to me is like my little guy, if he is upset or crying, I walk him to the tank, instantly happy. It is like the best distraction in the world. Like, you can go from crying to just happy and mesmerized watching fish within seconds. So honestly, when people shut down their tank because they're having a baby, crazy talk. Babies or tanks can bring sanity. Like, they are like magical in that respect. I don't know if it's just me, but my kid loves it. He's mesmerized by seeing the tank. Tracy, my daughter knew what the clownfish were before she could even talk. I would ask her where the clownfish was. She'd start point to the fish tank. Yeah, see, that's pretty awesome. So I think it's pretty fun to see that interaction, see how the kids learn about the tank. I'm sure most of us hope our offspring will turn into little tiny reefers as well. But honestly, like, tank, baby distraction, crying, magical. I'm curious to see if that's worked out for other people as well as for me, but magic in my books. That alone makes the tank worth its weight in gold. But yeah, so on the tank things, now a big consideration for me, this stand doesn't have a side panel on it. So, there's open sump, but obviously that's a risk. So I've been considering, do I put side panels on it? Do I just lock my office so I'm not in here? All these kind of considerations. But let's see. I don't know. I might do PVC panels. We'll see. I do like the open sump though. It's a trade-off. Aussie man, just use a keyed lock or a fingerprint one. Something cool. That'd be kind of cool. They're gonna figure it out quick. The key is dexterity to use. So I find that magnet ones are pretty safe, right? As long as they don't have a magnet to do it. But I don't know. I think personally, like, if you start getting your kid with like microscopes and all that stuff, I think it's a good way to build their little creative minds and get them interested in the tank, which I think is going to be super cool in the future. So far, yeah, I don't know. I've seen RFID locks and get on Amazon cheap and all that stuff. I don't know if I would want to put I don't think I'd want to put anything visible on the tank, though. I'd want it hidden stealthy so you wouldn't know it's there. And just, some kind of card or magnet or something to unlock it, I think is kind of the way to go. If you really want to get fancy, you could probably use like a magnetic lock and flick an outlet on your apex or something crazy like that, which would be pretty cool. That's probably overkill though. Automate everything. Okay, automation. I know we go to automation a lot, but automation is definitely key. I know I've been a lot more slack on maintaining my tanks lately. Thankfully, most things are automated. So that's probably been, a chunk of my saving grace. If I still had to manually do everything, you would probably be getting a lot less love. Now, the other big consideration is my tanks are probably happier because my hands are in there less, right? So not putting your hands in your tank can go a long way. And I think that is another big consideration. So it actually, in the tank's benefit, is probably a bit of an advantage of me not having so much free time because I'm messing with it less. So it's kind of like secret little benefits to tanks and babies. W Mars, if you're a handy dude or hire a handyman to upgrade the doors on the sump, brace it a wall, big old school canopies. If you're really handy, a locking lid. I don't know if I'll go that far. I mean, realistically, a little person's not going to be able to reach the top of a tank. I think a screen top's good enough just to keep stuff from being, launched into your tank. That's a big one. This one I don't have a top yet, which is on my to-do list. I'm going to get on that soon. Wondering if you can hook a button up to your, pop the door open for you. Oh, you absolutely can. You can get door poppers. They have them in cars. And I feel like I've actually bought one a long time ago back in my Pimp Out the Car days. But you can get little door poppers. So you could... No, man, now you're making me think of some kind of Apex door lock. The only, downfall, I guess, if the power was out or something. But an electronic lock with, a little button you can push somewhere to pop it open would be kind of cool. All right, this might be a future project. I like it. Hook out a breakout box where it would unlock the door. 100%, man. So you can have a button with the breakout box. It would unlock or pop your door, whatever you want to do. Or you pull... Yeah, I'm doing it. All right. Okay, this is going to be a future project. Magnetic door locks. Brilliant. Overkill, but brilliant. I like it. Saltwater and lime. We started reefing because my oldest son, when he was younger, he really got into fish keeping. Now I have teenage boys in the house and they're a big part of keeping up the tanks. Well, I think that's awesome. It's really cool if you can get your tiny humans into it. A screen would help with that. That we can lock it with your telephone through your Apex. Yeah, I actually like the electronic lock idea. This is gonna be a cool project. Probably into this one now. Thanks, guys. Another rabbit hole for me to go into. Accessible crawl space. I have my sump and equipment. Definitely reduced my fear of little guy messing with it. Yeah, if you have a sump room or a remote sump, something you can lock completely separated, that takes out a lot of the worries. The biggest one that still sticks in my mind was, I believe it was Mark Levinson that told me that he had grandson or someone that threw a bunch of pennies or a bunch of money, metal, blade, whatever random stuff into the tank. So that's, I don't know, that one always sketches me out quite a bit. Is something getting added to the tank that you're not aware of, and then it causes issues, and it's one of those things where you wouldn't necessarily catch it or know it if you didn't see it happening. So I think that's honestly one of the biggest things. That, and the other side of it is the safety factor of making sure a little person can't, somehow fall into a sump, right? Because that would be trouble. And aside from that, though, another consideration lately, loop a camera to a magnetic door open for tracking and set up an alarm. That sounds hardcore, but you totally could. Now, the other consideration that I've had recently is the light spill. I've heard a lot of mixed things on if, is that blue light, is that stuff, is it bad for eyes, and is it fine? Lots of people say it's fine, but for, a baby still developing, I avoid that. So I have actually built some little light shades for both my tanks to basically cut down on all the light spill. I've been prototyping a bunch of different ones, getting there, so I've made them for the 30s, and I'll do some for the 15s later. I'm actually just using the diffuser frame right now on this tank. But I do that, and I also lowered the lights about 1.5 inches, the light bar, so they're a bit closer to the tank. And that, tied with my little shades that I made, is actually working really well. It cuts out most of the light spill from the room, which is actually been pretty awesome. I do have a projector as well, so actually not having a light spilling in the wall is like dual win on a couple different fronts. So that's been another one of my side projects lately, is just like tweaking and prototyping, perfecting that design. So almost there, but it's working really well. I'm happy with it so far. Saltwater and lime. When my oldest was 2, he managed to catch a fish and took it out of the tank to pet it. How in the heck did he catch a fish? That is actually very impressive. Spicy Reef. For sump, I would want to lock and key my sun gun to all kind of various child-safe locks, including magnetic locks. Took him until he was a teenager to pick through this lock. Oh, that's great. Hello from Singapore. Hello from Canada. Yeah, so the shades and reducing light spill, I think, is a good thing too, especially if you're putting your kid by the tank so you can watch the tank. The other consideration is too, if they're lower, the light's going to go spill past them, right? But if you reduce any of that spill, I think it's better. You can have them closer. It gives you a lot more flexibility. So that's been my other kind of consideration the last little while, and one of my side projects I'm working on. I'm actually really, when you talk about the key locks and stuff, I still don't know if I'd want a key visible on the tank. If you lose the key, you can't find it. I do like the idea of a magnetic lock. Like they have security locks on doors where when it's energized, it's basically a magnetic field and locks it. So as long as power is supplied, you would have a way in. So I think that'd be really cool. I think that'd be an easy solution. So I don't know. I have to research this, and if it's not crazy expensive, I'm gonna go that route. If it's like under $100 to do it, I'll do it. So I think it'll be cool. Aussie man, I checked with the par meter through the glass. Almost no par gets out of the tank through the glass. I would agree. If with the glass actually reflects it back inward. So a lot of which is really cool. If you have a really widespread light like a Radion, I know you can get almost higher par in certain areas because of what reflects off the tank and then back inside. So that's kind of a cool side thing about it. Aaron, anything in the works for kelp or dropping? I'm thinking you mean dosing liquids. I have an idea of what I want to build for my own version of a kelp reactor to do a bunch of tweaks that I want to do and improvements off some of the current ones. I am currently trying to bribe someone to help me build it on a production scale, but we'll see. So there might be something eventually. I have some certain ones that I don't know. I have some ideas that I think would make a lot of the current models better. So we'll see. That's the one he got into. Yeah. What's going on, Producer Reef? Now, I'm kind of curious to hear from you guys. Is there any big things that you've had, lessons learned from having babies or kids around the tank? Is there any crazy stories that happened? Is there anything that you've started doing differently? The things you've changed since then? I mean, obviously stuff like test kits and certain stuff, obviously you don't want whatever those random chemicals are around for kids to get into them, because again, they can stain carpets, they can do all kinds of stuff, obviously not good for ingesting, so make sure that stuff's all kept away. I keep all mine in one of those parts bins, so they got little bins for everything, put it up high on a shelf, not even a worry from that perspective. Economical Reefer, what's going on? AJ, got some inspiration from your lagoon for my new scape. Sick vids. Thank you. You make me want to do better cable management. It is worth the investment. I mean, when I've done it, like I've redone some of the ones in here, and I literally sat there all night and hours and hours doing it. But then when you open it, stuff's organized, it looks good, stuff's happy. It's still not perfect, but much bigger. Aaron, what do you guys use to keep your glass clean from messy kids' fingers? Okay, so there is a few different options on this front. I have used just standard issue spray glass cleaners. If I do, I usually spray the paper towel or microfiber cloth first and then wipe the tank. Or if you do use it by the tank, shoot it downwards on an angle, because you don't really want all that stuff going into the tank. Another cool thing I got a while ago is this thing. It's like a squeegee and a vacuum in one. So it will suck up and squeegee as you go. So you can use RODI water and just like wipe it down, and you basically squeegee it. And this thing works phenomenal if you want like a chemical free way to do it. Tracy, I don't have messy little fingerprints anymore. I have dog nose art on mine. Yeah, that's what my windows look like from the pooch off the back of the couch. But yeah, so the squeegee works really well if you don't want to use any chemical cleaners. I mean, just RODI. Use RODI, wipe it down, use the squeegee. That works really well. But yeah, again, regular cleaners work well, like the foaming ones. You just don't want it in your water. So, if you spray it in the other room on your paper towel or your microfiber, then go wipe the tank. That works really well. No, producer Reef dinos again. Thinking of getting a frag tank plumbed to my sump and just tee it off the display so I can separate the two. Yeah, I moved all the corals to the frag. Dinos are a pain. Yeah, it depends what type of dinos you have, because certain ones have certain different methods to fight them. I mean, some respond to UV, some don't. So, I mean, first thing, you always gotta ID it, what it is. That's a pretty cool product Amazon link. Here, let me look at my history. It's a while ago I bought it, but it's probably still in there. Once I remember what it's called. And it comes with a spray bottle with a scrapey or like a spongy thing on it too. It's actually pretty cool. Going back in the archives, I bought that at least a year ago. Dun dun dun. I learned early on. I learned to get up early, drink my coffee, test something if I have to, clean the glass, check my sump. No matter how crazy my day is, you'll always have your tank kind of done for the day. That's true. That is a good point. I would agree. Morning's probably your safest bet, or late at night before, when the wee ones go to bed. The biggest thing I've realized is I've been slacking on cleaning the glass. So I'm trying to get better at that. That's honestly been the biggest thing that I've noticed with myself is when I keep up on it and keep it a little more pristine. But yeah, coffee in the morning, great way to do it. Coffee is always your friend. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I drink probably far too much coffee. Now, the other big thing, I know not everyone has them, but auto testers for me have been a big thing because that really saves a lot of time. And I don't know. It is so easy to just go test, have your result later, and just tweak. And then you can kind of coast. Your tank's a little more autopilot, and that definitely makes a big difference. So, if possible, I mean, not everyone's in their budget, but it does make your life much, much easier. Okay, sorry. Let me grab you the link to that. I finally found it. So, all right, Aaron. That is the squeegee vacuum surface cleaner. It did come with a liquid for it. I've never used a liquid. I only just use RODI. It's the squeegee thing's hiding right now, or the spray bottle. It's basically a spray bottle with like a scrubby pad, so you can clean it. You can use RODI. There's no chemicals, and then it squeegees it up with a little vacuum as it goes. I find it super handy, so might be a good accessory if you don't want to use like Windex or spray foams in your tank. No, this isn't an opinion. I rid many projects, including Reef, when kids came along. I just want to spend time with them doing other things. So, Spicy Reef. So you got rid of many projects, including Reef. So did you come back to your Reef afterwards? So in my mind, having the tank is an amazing way to entertain the kid, or if he's fussy, and he's like, put him in front of the tank, happy, peaceful, sanity, all good. So I think that does go a long way. Now, I think the key to it, though, is, in my mind, I do like automating stuff, obviously, but having less stuff automated takes all that stress off of you having to worry about it and you having to do it. So you still have a lot of free time. Like, honestly, clean the glass, feed the fish is like my only common things to do. I top off little kelp once in a while. I mix some, more dosing stuff once a month maybe. But aside from that, that's about it. So it's pretty darn easy. Like the other day I did a bunch of fragging because there's corals getting too close to the glass. But on a daily basis, I honestly don't even do that much on the tank anymore because it's, for the most part, autopiloted now. Aaron, does anyone remember the glass cleaner scraper they used to have for pools? Haven't seen them in years. Not sure which one you're talking about there, but link me up if you do find it. I'm curious. Spencer, do you think Aptasia will be an issue in an anemone and softy tank? Probably not. I mean, it can sting stuff. It's not the best thing in the world, but I don't think it's going to hurt too much. I mean, it's always best if you only have one or two, like nip in the butt before they spread. Like I would 100% get ahead of that. But if you're already overrun, then you're probably not too worried about it anyways. Economic reefer. I've been using vehicle wax on the display side of the tank. It seems to keep the exterior glass clean longer and helps smooth their swipe with magnetic glass clear. You know what? I do agree with you on that one. There was something I bought from Costco that was a car. It was like a spray-on car wax glass cleaner type of thing. And I do use that on the tank once in a while. And 100%, the glass cleaner just like glides across it after you do that. And it does last for a little while. So it is probably the same thing. Oh, okay. So the one you just linked, Aaron, that Moy one. Huh, did that actually come to the market? I remember seeing that thing. Oh, no, he's got the big robot. Okay. So the second one you linked, the Aquata Genius Robo Snail. I actually have one. I've never used it. A buddy gave it to me, but he said it sounds like a freaking truck robot. It's so loud. There was that Moy one, whatever it is, but it's been like coming out for like a bazillion years now. And I just checked the webpage and it still says pre-order. So I don't have a lot of faith until I actually see that one hit the market, because I've literally seen that in pre-order for years and years and years. So maybe one day I would totally get a glass cleaning robot, as long as I know it's not going to scratch my glass. That's always my biggest worry. And even now I kind of think it would run into coral on the inside. I'd have to do more trimming, but it's pretty sweet though if you can do it. Now, can I bring this one up? Let me see. I'll show you guys my screen capture. Yeah, so this is one of the ones that Aaron linked. This is that Moy one. I've literally been looking at this one for years now, and it's pre-order still. Updated October 2011. Building chip programmer. So maybe it's actually coming out soon, but after a couple of years of waiting, I'm not holding my breath, but when it comes out, we'll see. Now, the other one, where was it? Yeah, it's the other one you said. So this guy, I have seen, a buddy gave me one, never used it. He said it's like crazy loud, so I've just never used it because my OCD of being quiet, it'd probably drive me nuts if I hear a tractor down the hallway. It's a potential option. I use a dollar store squeegee. There you go, ma'am. That's a nice cheap way. Squeegee, spray bottle. With all this talk, glass clean, I figures might as well clean mine. It makes a big difference. Now, do I have it? Somewhere in reach. I took the blade off this one. Speaking of glass cleaning, scrapers work well, but honestly, a razor blade, this one, I tossed the blade the other day because it was kind of worn. But using a metal blade in your tank, probably like once a month or every few weeks I'll do it, and I'll clean the inside. And it is amazing how much better your glass looks after you use a proper razor blade scraping on it. Glass cleaners, at least I found, don't quite scrape it 100%. Like they clean all the surface stuff, but there's like an extra layer of like film that just gets done, and it just looks like brand new once you do the razor blade. I've been using the flipper ones for a long time, and I've been very happy with them, but lately I've been debating trying a couple other ones. So either the Flipper Edge Max, which like the dual blade, so either that one, or I know tons of people like the Toonsy Care ones with the blade. So one of the two I'm going to probably try and to see if there's a big difference. So if any of you have tried either one of those, like the Toonsy Care or the Flipper double edge one, let me know how you like them. Because yeah, it works well, but I feel like it could be just a little more better glass cleaning. Like nothing beats the manual hand scraping just of how pristine it looks. So if I can find something that will match that in a scraper, that'll be sweet. All right, 24, okay. So good work on cleaning the glass, Spencer. Always a good thing. Dollar store squeegees, yeah, if you want super cheap way to do it, chemical spray bottle, just use RDI. RDI is safe on everything. You don't care if you get in the tank. It cleans everything. It's not going to mark. Doesn't leave streaks. Even if you have water evaporates, it's not going to leave any marks. So it's a good way to do. Even if I'm cleaning, like dusting my lights or like the rails or clean the edge of the tank, same thing. A little bit of RDI water on a paper towel or whatchamacallit, like microfiber cloth works very well. Aaron, Flipper Dual is awesome and super strong. Now, okay, Flipper Dual, and have you tried the Toonsy Care? And if so, how do they compare? Because those are the two I've been back and forth on. I don't bother the felt side of the flipper, just to stick to the scraper. Yeah. Spencer, I've never ever used the felt side on mine. I've only ever used the razor blade. Now, I think the strength of the magnet makes a big difference too. If your glass is too thick for the magnet, it's not going to pull really hard and really scrape your glass. It's going to be a looser scrape. So I would almost think too, if you go for an extra, maybe you size up your magnet, right? So you get that extra power. And I've been complaining that too. Like, this tank's a little over half an inch. Do I go for the one that's rated for an inch for this tank, just to like overkill it? So we'll see. What's going on, Sid? Good to see you. Same for me, never use a felt. Yeah, to me, the felt is just a spot for sand or gravel to get stuck in and scratch your glass. Like, razor only reduces any risk of it ever scratching your glass, for the most part. Tunesy is good, but on thicker glass, I find it fails. Now, on yours, did you have like the strong plus or max or whatever the heck it's called on yours? Yeah, because those are the two. I'm really curious. So if you tried them both, I'm going to bug you later about them and see, so I can decide which way to go. Okay, so I am also curious. Anyone that has kids, is it magical for entertaining your kids? Or if your kids are crying, like stopping it? Like, is this a universal thing? For me, it's magic. Like, absolutely magic. Like, that alone makes the tank worthwhile. Like, not that it already is, but keeping the tank up. So, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but whenever I see these posts about people shutting down a tank because of X, to me, it always seems crazy. You see, like the max. Okay. Stronger magnets, spray your tank with RDI. It will glide way nicer. RDI. I guess anything to clean your glass, really, right? The cleaner, the smoother it is. Slides. So, anytime I see someone shutting down their tank because of like hair algae or because they're having a baby or something else, to me it always seems crazy. Tanks are good for babies. That's my new theory. And they're good for you. They keep your sanity till a certain age. Now, same thing. Like, when I see people like, oh, my tank's overrun with hair algae, I'm shutting it down. Like, you can manually remove that. You can add urchins. You can go sledgehammer with fluconazole. Like, there's so many ways to fix problems now that there's no good reason to shut down a tank because of, like, for the most part, because of some little pest, because most of them are really not that hard to deal with anymore. In focus photography, had the Tunesy long on a Reefer 350, worked well on that one. Excellent. Maybe I should just get one of each and compare them. Use one on each tank. I don't know. We'll see. It was sometimes like 50-50. What was that one said? Yeah, so I don't know, guys. What do you think? What's your favorite glass scraper? Totally off topic, but I'm back and forth on the two. As for kids in tanks, a big shout out I'm going to say for calcium reactor is they run for ages. You don't have to maintain it very often. Like, literally like once a year I service mine. So that again frees up more of my time, which is a big win for the tank. Same with filter rollers. I mean, not changing socks all the time frees up your life, and that's more time for the family, more times for the kids. Oh yeah, so Reefer NYC. So you probably joined a little bit later. Thoughts on newborns and blue light? I don't foresee much of an issue in like light bouncing off a wall, for instance, but I avoid any direct blue light. So basically, I don't want to be able to see the LED. That's kind of my thoughts, at least for like little tiny eyes. So on my tanks, like the two things I did in my water box, one, I lowered the light rail about 1.5 inches or so it's closer to the water, so I get less spill. And I also built like a little shade that wraps around it this sleekly just to cut out any of that light spill. And that's what I did on my water box. This tank, I actually have the diffusers on it, but I just removed the film, so it just has that little border around it, and that cut it out pretty good for now. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. The jury is still out on that one. I've read so many mixed things on it, and it's hard to say, so I don't know. I would rather just err on the side of caution on the front of blue lights and little developing eyes. Tracy, cleanup crew. Most people start off with no cleanup crew when they get in that position. Creatures to do the work for you does go a long way. Doug House, my 23-month-old, loves the tank. She plays hide and seek with the fish. See, that's awesome. Like, there's just so many good things about it. I'm with you, Kevin. It's my go-to scraper. So, Kevin, liking the flipper edge, blades on both sides. That's what I'm leaning towards. I think it's pretty good. Planning on making a fake canopy with foam boards. I was actually tried that. I tried mocking up with cardboard, and I was debating buying like balsa wood or something to make like a frame that wraps around mine as a canopy. And that, which I was going to do, but then I ended up just 3D printing and make my own kind of shade that goes around the light. So it was a much sleeker solution. I haven't directly shown it off yet, but you can kind of see sneak peeks of it in my last video I did on the tank. We traveled a lot when I was kids. Could not walk, no automation back then. But even now, we travel a lot. Yeah. Okay, wait. Fragile. I spoke to a doctor about blue light. Said studies say it may affect sleep of a newborn, but aside from that, staring at the diodes, they are fine to see. Okay, so there you go. So it's not the end of the world. But, okay, so the whole blue light thing. I mean, that... Not even babies. Like, anyone is going to affect your sleep to a certain extent. Because that stimulates you, right? It's like similar spectrums to daylight. And if your body thinks it's daylight, you're going to be more awake and alert. That's why bright light is like if you're sitting on your phone at night, you're stimulating yourself and you're keeping yourself awake longer and your body's not going to get as sleepy. So I think that's similar to that one. So it sounds like it's not a massive issue, but either way, I still avoid any direct light in the eyes. Kevin Johnson just finished building and painting a canopy for my tank. I don't like seeing the lights either. Yeah, I've actually preferred it more since I put the shades on mine because not seeing the spill light, it less distracting and you focus on the tank itself more. So it's a nicer aesthetic. Been battling hair allergy for a little bit. Manually movable urchins have been working well. It's not hurting anything. I don't feel like the hammer is necessary. Yeah, for sure. If that's working, then absolutely. Like most of it, if there's any longer stuff, just put your hand in it and yank it all out and then let the urchins eat the base of it. And it's a much less work for them. Definitely goes a long way. And if there is bases that you can't get to, the other thing you could do too, if your rock can come out like in pieces, just every week pick a different rock, you take it out, spray a bunch of hydrogen peroxide on it, that'll kill the base, and then, next week pick a different rock. The reason you'd want to do that a little slower is because it's also going to kill the good bacteria on it. That way you're kind of spacing it out and not doing any big impacts on the tank. But that's another approach if you want to help it along a bit quicker. Spicy Reef, so easy to start up again, a big learning project. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be so weird not having a reef tank. I vote to keep them. They're good. Aaron, isn't it easier to put UV sunglasses on the kid? Maybe it is. But the question is, would they keep them on or would they just rip them off? Who knows? Alright, so I'm only going to go for about 10 more minutes. I do got to keep it fairly short today because I have somewhere I got to be in about 40 minutes from now. So, got some family dates today. So I figured this would be a good topic that wouldn't go too crazy long today. So I'll keep it a little bit shorter. Now, this is like another random hypothetical question. I know you're talking about doing like sunglasses on the kid. The one thought I had, I don't know if this is practical or not, but I used to do window tinting way back in the day. And one of my thoughts was like, there's UV film that you could put on glass to stop UV going to a car. I was like, I wonder if you could put that on a tank. And then another interesting thought I had at one point, this might be cool, might be stupid, who knows, but on how you wear the orange glasses and it cuts the blue and still makes all the colors pop. If you had a very like subtle orange film and you tinted the outside of the glass, would that give you the same effect? I have no idea, but I think that'd be kind of fun to try one day. Because like it's the difference of the orange things is kind of crazy. Of course I can't see it right now. But it might be a cool experiment. If anyone has a small tank or a nano tank, it'd be fun to try it on. Would you have to keep a reef tank or would you just be a dude? Right? See, I'm obligated. I'm extra obligated because I do YouTube stuff now. Just be a dude without a tank and be sad. Although I do got the vivarium. I got the frogs. Completely unrelated. Little buggers can be cannibals. I have 2 containers on my desk with tadpoles. And one of them had 3. Now there's only 1. And I think the other big one ate the little one. So I got to separate the other ones for their own future safety. Little punks. Okay, Aaron, I tried UV film on the tank. It worked great. The first time till I used an algae scraper messed it up. Ah, yes. That is a good point. You would... you'd need something really soft on the outside, or you'd have to use something like a scraper on the inside. But yeah, that is a good point. It'd be much easier to scratch from the outside of the tank. Kevin Johnson, Reef Lounge Coral Shop puts orange film on their tanks. Pretty interesting fact. Kevin, you should send me a photo of that one day, like on Instagram or somewhere. I'd love to see that. It's super cool. I don't know. I've always been curious to see what that would look like. So yeah, totally shoot me a photo if you have one. I would love to see that. Tracy, thank you, sir. Smash that like button and subscribe. Always appreciated. Thank you for the $10 super chat. And if you're watching, enjoying, hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, hit that button and the bell. Keep the YouTube guys happy. I have vibrates on my XRs to avoid too much light spill. Yeah, exactly. So I've built probably 10 different prototypes to get one that fits like perfectly around it and doesn't have a gap and it isn't too chunky. And it's been like so many tweaks, but almost to the perfect design, and does make a big difference. Doghouse Reefer, I ordered orange window tint for that exact use, and the orange of the tint I ordered is too dark. Looking for another option. Yeah, the couple, I've actually seen people do them on cars, but yeah, I think they're too intense. I think you need a subtle one. Like if you know the photography ones, there's like CTO oranges. Like you just need like a subtle orange. I think that's all you would need, and I think it would have a cool effect. But yeah, too orange, I agree. It would probably be too dark. Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate it, buddy. So, I don't know. I'm going to see if I can find some orange film now. I have to try this. I'm super curious. Just re-sparked it. I don't know. I'll see if the guy I used to do window tinting with has any or not. If he does, it might happen. Good experiment. All right, guys. I think that I'm probably going to wrap her up just because I got a lot of stuff I got to get done. I got to head out pretty quick. But thanks for joining me on the quick stream tonight. Tracy, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Diamond Reefer, thank you as well. Now, if you guys are watching this later on the replays and you have any good pro tips about reefing with kids or babies, then definitely let me know in the comments below. Spencer, do you plan on selling your 3D designs? I probably will eventually, like the AI Prime light shades. I got VCA to make those for me just because I want to do a bazillion of them. The shades I design right now for the XR30s, they're pretty big. I actually bought like a used bigger printer just so I can make them for this and play with bigger designs. So I probably will. They've been on the tank for a while now. I print them in PLA Plus, and I've been curious to see how that would hold up to the lights. So far, they still look absolutely perfect. So I think I've been playing with like different nozzle sizes. The problem is they take so long to print. So I bought some like 0.6 nozzles instead of 0.4 and gonna try some bigger stuff. But basically once I can get it dialed in to make them in a couple hours, so it's not like a day of printing, and because you got to make them affordable, right? In order to make it worthwhile. So I think I'm getting closer to it, and then I'll probably do some stuff for people that want them, but they're pretty cool. I made them, if you know my style, I like very minimal and sleek, and I spent a lot of time and effort to make it absolutely as sleek as possible and effective, but it has to flow with like even tapering it to match the lines of the light, like all these things. Far too many revisions, but anyways, it's close. Tracy, I may need to log in my Apex, try and figure out why my skimmer does not turn off at 8.5. Don't want to forget my code right. Shoot me a message later and I'll see if I can give you a hand. Alright guys, if you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. If you got any good tips, let me know in the comments below.